What's up, everybody? It's 1090J. Big shout out to everybody that's already subscribed. 500 subscribers before I even dropped the video. That's crazy. I appreciate y'all. Man, if this is your first time seeing me, I did an interview with Lockdown 23-1. Big shout out to Death, you feel me? I shared my Florida State prison experience. Video did numbers. Last time I checked, it was like 125,000 views. That's insane. You guys already, are subscribed to Death. You know how it is. You know how he rocking. But if you haven't subscribed to him, you definitely got to check him out. Lockdown 23-1. So I did a part 1, 2, and 3. What I'm going to do with this channel is we're going to be starting off right where we left off, right after that part 3. So you're definitely going to have to go over there anyways just to get caught up. You know what I mean? But, hey, this is going to be another prison channel. This is EOS. You don't know what EOS is, that's your end of sentence. We're going to be talking about everything, touching down on everything regarding prison, specifically Florida State Prison. I want to give a voice to those that don't have a voice, you know what I mean? Everybody that's still locked down, that's not able to present the situations that they're currently going through. And we're going to enjoy life after EOS. That's what it's all about. So if you like the video, definitely like it. You want to rock with me, definitely hit that subscribe button. I try to buzz back to everybody in the comments. So, you want to write anything down to me, I'm sure I'm going to see it, try to reply to you as fast as I can. If there's specific things you guys want to ask about, we'll touch down on all of that. But just to start things off, we're jumping right back into the story, taking you back to the youth offenders, broomsticks, TOHs, craziness, madness. But, hey, like I said, I appreciate all y'all. Let's see how it goes. We're starting off right where we left off from part 3. So we're at Lancaster CI. We're at Beat On. This is right after Buddy got hit up in his back, you know what I mean? So my feet, and a lot of y'all have been in the comments asking me what happened to his toes? Did he get his toes fixed? I did get my toes fixed. Got a medical call out. I went to medical early in the morning, and what ended up happening is, I don't know if you can consider it a surgery, but they shot me up with, like a numbing, whatever it is, and they had to stick the needle into my toe. This is probably the most painful thing that I've ever been through out of everything. And this is my, my toenails, you know what I mean? But on your fingernail, that little crevice right there where the skin meets the nail, that's where they stuck the needle into. Just right in there. Oh my God, I'm squeezing the chair, you know what I mean? The CO next to me is looking at me like, what, you're supposed to be a convict and this bothers you? Worst pain I ever felt in my life, really just because of how infected it already was from, those small boots forcing the nails to become ingrown. So they hit me with the needle, they clipped the nails, they wrapped both of my feet up. He did both feet one by one, and I was good to go after that. So I was allowed to wear my slides, like flip-flops, which you get off a canteen. Normally you have to wear Crocs or boots. I had a medical pass where I could wear just my slides, which, it's a little bit better than nothing, but it's definitely too painful to have, Crocs or boots on. I get back in the Beat On. I don't know if this was before lunch or after lunch, but basically I hear my name and I'm told to pack it up. And I'm confused because I haven't been in Beat On that long. It was only like a week or maybe 2 weeks at most. You know what I mean? I had really just got to Lancaster. The cut on my face is still pretty fresh. So push come to shove, he tells me to pack it up. I pack up my property and I'm told that I'm going over to the work camp. So how Florida State Prison works is if you don't have a lot of time and your custody level is more or less determined by the charges you have, how serious they are. If you come to prison with a murder charge, your custody level is going to be a bit higher. Also, if you've been getting into trouble, that can have an effect on your custody level. So when I went to prison, I didn't have a high custody level. In Florida, max is, death row. That's our max. You're not coming out. You're not walking around, nothing like that. You're not in a cell with anybody. That's our max. If you're closed custody, that's the highest you can be on a regular compound. Our compounds, regular, Florida State Prison compounds are not separated. So you'll have low custody dorms and high custody dorms, but everybody's on the same compound. Everybody goes to the same rec yard. Everybody goes to the same chow. You got a year and a day. He's got 3 life sentences. You guys could be bunkies. You know what I mean? That's how it is. There's no separation. But as your custody decreases, you can go to different facilities. So when you're closed to high custody, you have to be maintained in an armed perimeter, which means they got guns, they have gun towers, etc. When you have a lower level custody, you can go to a work camp. I don't know how I had a lower level custody. I had already been in confinement on possession of a weapon. I did the 60 days at Sumter CI. So I find out I'm going to the work camp. I'm kind of excited. I mean, Lancaster's already a hellhole, but Sumter wasn't too much, too much better. Same thing really going on, just Lancaster took it to a whole nother level. I pack up my property, everybody's running up to me, yo, I'll see you, da-da-da, and I get shipped. So the work camp ain't nothing but like 10 minutes away. You know what I mean? It's pretty much all on the same, like if it's a college, it's the same campus, it's just a different building on a different side of the campus. So the work camp is tiny. There's only like a couple of dorms. When you leave your dorm, the rec yard that's it. Like when you leave the door to your dorm, you're on a basketball court. Opposite side of the basketball court is a chow hall. That's it. There's nothing else here. So there's only like 3 or 4 dorms. It's super, super tiny. A lot less inmates, a lot less violence. Now, generally, when you're at a work camp, what happens is certain inmates have very low custody levels, like a minimum. When you have a minimum custody level, you're allowed to go outside of the gates, which means that, you'll get strip searched and everything, and you can go outside on a work squad and you'll work, whatever they have you doing. It's honestly like slave work. You just, whatever it is, and you're going to be with an armed guard. You try to run away, you're most likely going to get shot. But no one's really trying to run away from a work camp because, like I said, if you're at a work camp, 9 times out of 9, you have really no amount of time. There's a couple cases where someone will have like 10 years or something like that. I don't know how they got to the work camp, but everyone just stays hush-hush. They're usually able to ride out and do their time peacefully. So everyone here generally has less time. So when I get to the work camp, this is the same day that I got the surgery on my toes. Generally, anytime you go to a new dorm, you're going to get another TOH. You're going to be around all new people. You don't know what gangs are going to be in there. You don't know how it's going to be when you get there. You really just got to ride out and, take it as it comes. So I get to this work camp. The COs are the same. We weren't getting hit or anything like that. I think I came with maybe like 2 or 3 people. It wasn't really anybody. They put us in a little mini bus, drove us over, and that was it. I was 19 at the time. How the dorms are divided at the work camp is you have a dorm for the 19-year-olds. The dorm that's 20 to 21, I believe, was Q dorm. Then you have a dorm that's 21 to 24. That's P dorm. The other dorm that we had, I think it was a mix of ages, and it was basically like if you worked inside of the kitchen, work squad, things like that. 3, 4 dorms? That was it. I dorm, Q dorm, P dorm, and then whatever the other dorm was. So yeah, 4 dorms and a chow hall. That's it. Super tiny compound. Our dorm, which was the 18-year-old dorm, that's the dorm that I was supposed to go into, but it was full at the time. So it was maxed out. There was no beds available. So when I got there, they ended up putting me in P dorm, which is 21 to 24. I mean, I went inside of P dorm. I was skinny. At the time. I lost a ton of weight in confinement. I go into P dorm, and these guys are looking like grown men. You got 23, 24-year-old. They're big. You know what I mean? They look nothing like the 18 and 19-year-old dorm. So when I get in there, I walk in and everybody's looking, and that's to be expected. That's how it is everywhere. So all of the dorms here at the work camp are open bay dorms. So it's just bunk beds. So you'll have 2 sides. The officer's booth will be in the middle, and they can observe basically both sides. So I get in. I find out where my bunk is. So the second I walked in, my bunk is all the way in the right corner. Mind you, the CO stayed outside when I first came. I think she was smoking a cigarette, whatever it was. They take cigarette breaks and leave us in the dorm by ourselves. When no one's watching you, you're on your own. You know what I mean? They're not looking at there isn't any cameras to look at. So I get in, I find my bunk. My bunk is in the back right corner, and I was the bottom bunk. Thank God I was the bottom bunk because my feet are destroyed right now. I just got, got them clipped. I'm in a lot of pain, and all I got was ibuprofens. So all they give you is ibuprofens. So I get to my bunk, try to make up my bed. I'm trying to lean over and tuck everything in because you have to make the bed perfectly. You have to fold the 6-inch collar. They're super strict about all this stuff. I finally make my bed. I lay down in my bed, and this is like the first, time I get to relax today, because when you get a medical call out, they're waking you up early, like I don't know, like 6 in the morning, and you're gonna sit inside a medical until like 9 or 10. You're just sitting in there. You haven't even seen a doctor yet. So I've been up all morning. I'm tired, ready to just lay down. I'm thinking, I'm gonna have a few minutes of peace. I close my eyes and I feel a knock on my bunk. Now, these are metal bunks, so when someone knocks it, everything vibrates. You can feel it. Ba-ba-bum. I feel a knock. I look, and I see this black kid, and he said, "Hey, TOH." I mean, like I said, it was to be expected. I didn't think it was going to come immediately, but it was to be expected. So I jump up. I said, "Where's the grid at?" So the grid, whatever you want to call it, the grid, the paint, that's just the area you're going to fight at. Sometimes it'll be in the bathrooms. If you have cameras in the dorm, you'll go in the bathroom. There's no camera. Sometimes you might catch a corner. Sometimes you might go in between two bunk beds. You know what I mean? So I just got moved into this dorm. I don't know where the grid is. I'm not just going to crash this kid in front of the dorm and then get put into confinement. So I'm like, where's the grid at? So he walks over and gets into the opposite corner where the phone is. And, he's standing there, he's ready or whatever. I walk up. Mind you, I'm still walking on my heels. I just got this surgery, literally like maybe an hour, 2 hours ago. I just got this done. Freshly clipped, like everything's an open wound still. So I kick off my slides because there's no buck in the fight. You got to fight. It is what it is, That other kid didn't have a finger. I got all my fingers and toes, so let's get it. So I get in there with him, and how it went is we stood close enough to each other, but we didn't do nothing fancy. No one was bobbing and weaving and moving and none of that. We stood right in front of each other and basically just teed off on each other's jaws. That was it. We stood there and went at it. Boom, boom, boom. So, I mean, I'm getting hit. He's getting hit. Basically, everything is connecting. And I can see this kid clearly, but everything around him is starting to get, like, bright and, like flashes. So I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, I'm getting hit, but I'm hitting him too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how long this is going to go for. All of a sudden, I get hit from behind. I feel something hit me here, and I know it wasn't him because I'm looking at him. I get hit from behind. I drop down. I don't hit the floor. My hands, I catch myself before. I didn't get laid out or nothing like that, but I catch myself on the floor. And, I see all of a sudden this big black dude picked up this white boy, and he's got him in the air. You know what I mean? And I hear him yelling like, "Hey, you're not jumping him. You're not jumping him. He from Tampa." I'm thinking to myself, oh, I got somebody in here that's from Tampa, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? No one said nothing to me. When I walked in, no one said anything, and that's usually how it goes. So you're not gonna walk in and get greeted. But Buddy picked him up and was like, you gotta fade him one-on-one. So the black kid at that point that I was fighting, walked out of the area, and the white boy came in. I smashed this white boy. You know what I mean? I smashed him. And the reason I say it like that is because you didn't even attempt to fight me one-on-one. You hit me from behind and tried to jump in, and someone else had to stop it. He got beat. You know what I mean? I painted him. And what happened after I fought him is another kid, a third kid, called me out. So he's like, "Hey, come over on the other side and tighten up." So I'm like, all right, you know what I mean? I don't got nothing to lose. I don't know who this kid is. I'm not impressed by anybody in here. I'm just going off of adrenaline. It is what it is. I already fought two. One more isn't going to be nothing. But mind you, when I fought the first kid, he had, like, stepped on my foot, on my toe. oh my God, I just like, I don't know if that motivated me even more, but it was so bad. The pain was so bad, but you know, I'm focusing on everything else. I can't really focus on my foot, but he definitely stepped on it. Hurt like hell. So I go over to the other side. I go over to the other side where the other kid's at, and we get into the opposite corner. When I get closer to him, his hands are already up. You know, people start yelling out, troll, troll. So everyone will have like a little nickname for the COs, you know, the police, troll, whatever, 12, whatever you want to call them. It basically meant that the CO was coming in. So he, you know, he had his hands up. He put his hands back down. He was like, yo, you're good. I just wanted to see if you would get in there. So I'm thinking to myself, like, who the hell are you? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't I get in there? Come to find out, this kid, he's from St. Pete. He was supposed to be like one of the hottest bumping kids on the compound, period. Like one of the swiftest kids. So in Florida, we got a little fighting style called Swift. When you get Swift, Swift would be like Floyd Mayweather, fighting without getting touched. You know what I mean? Bobbing, weaving, leaning back, touching the floor, getting back up. Just crazy, crazy things. And supposedly this kid got into a fight where he had a can lid, a half of a can lid in his hand. And he spun around as if he was doing a back fist, but when he spun around, he actually cut somebody with the can lid. And I mean, he left a crazy cut. I found out that story after the fact, but yeah, I probably would have got painted by this kid. I had no idea that he was on that level, nothing like that. Like I said, I didn't know anybody in here. I wasn't impressed. I wasn't going to be like, nah, whatever. I was just moving off of adrenaline. So I go back to my side, and the same big black dude that, you know, grabbed up the white boy, he introduces himself to me. He's like, yo, my name's Jeezy. I'm from Tampa. I wasn't going to let them jump you like that. I knew what it was, you know what I mean? But after they see me fight, you know what I mean? That's when people started talking to me. Yo, where you from? Yo, what's up? Da-da-da. And people are just being friendlier, you know what I mean? A lot of people want to see you in some type of action before they want to interact with you. They want to know you're solid. And most of these kids that, you know, are involved with that, they're not even solid themselves. You know what I mean? So everybody wants to be cool with the person that's, you know, taking action and doing something. So everybody starts getting a little friendlier. There's not really no bad blood in the dorm. I'm not going to run up and try to hit one of these kids up. It was really just fighting, and from what I heard, it was over with. So, yeah, that was my little TOH at the work camp, which really wasn't nothing. It wasn't even really a TOH. I didn't get jumped. I didn't get beat with weapons and poked up or nothing like that. It was weak, but I had just got my toes clipped. None of them knew that. They found out after the fact. And then once I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm working with, everybody's like, dang, bro, we didn't even know that, you know, that was an issue, da-da-da. It is what it is. Ain't no sympathy in prison. So like I said, the work camp, it wasn't on and popping like, you know, the main unit was. And it wasn't affiliated in the sense that if something happened at the main unit, it would carry out into the work camp. Even though people were getting hit up on the main, it didn't carry on over here. But people did get hit over here, don't get me wrong. Being that it's a work camp and people are going outside of the gate and they get to work and, you know, work squads or whatever, a lot of things are getting brought back into the work camp. There's a lot of tobacco going around. Not really often, maybe a couple of times K2 had hit, things like that. So everybody's smoking, really just hanging out. You don't have to act the same way you were on the main unit. Now, on the main unit, especially in B-dorm, being that it's open bay, no cameras, when you slept, you would have to wrap, you know, your towel around your face at night to sleep. What I did is I would take my towel and try to rub it off, you know, concrete or anything that would kind of scrape the fabric so that I could see through the fabric. So I'd have it wrapped on my face at night so no one can cut you when you're sleeping on your bunk, because things like that used to happen all the time. You catch this kid knocked out, drooling on himself, he wakes up and his whole face is open. You know what I mean? You get a laundry bag, which is just basically like a, you know, it's like a rope bag. I don't know how to describe it. It's just a regular bag. But that's where you put all your laundry in, and you would put that over your head at night so that no one hit you with a lock dropped a foot locker on your head, nothing crazy like that. And if you were really at war, you could take books and put them inside of your jacket and sleep with your jacket on. But if you were caught doing that, you would get in trouble. Obviously, they know you're trying to make like a body armor suit. But all of this would prevent you from getting hit up in your sleep. Something else we used to do too on the main unit is we would take shifts. So let's say there's me and only one other blood. What we would do is if he had a watch, I would hold the watch and he would go to sleep. I would stay up and drink coffee and watch the dorm, you know what I mean? And at night, bro, it was serious. You would see gang members in different gangs and a few of them stay awake. Then they're staying awake so that if anything starts to happen or if they see another gang starting to grab knives or whatever, we can wake everybody up and now we're all on point, you know what I mean? Versus if we're all sleeping, one of us can get hit up. So we would take shifts like that. He sleep for a couple hours. I wake him up, you know, give him the screwdriver, whatever type of weapon we had at the time. He gets the coffee, he gets the wash, and I get to go to sleep. So you really didn't sleep at Lancaster. You're pretty much stressed out the whole time. It's just constant war mode. That's all you can think about is war. That's all that's going on is war. And then, of course, the COs make it even worse. So the work camp was really the only time I got to relax, the first time I got to just vibe out a little bit. And it turned out that the two people that I fought, one was from Orlando and one was from St. Pete. You know, the third guy that I was going to fight, he was from St. Pete. And he was basically the head of their little gang. So St. Pete has a prison gang called Arnett. I'm not going to break down what it means. If you know, you know. And Orlando has a prison gang called X-Men. And the reason it's X-Men and Arnett is because when you get your prison ID, different areas in Florida have different classifications. So if you have your DC number, the original, like the beginning of it is going to be a letter. So if you're from Central Florida, you could get a C. That's for all of Central Florida. If you're from Tampa, you would get a T. If you're from Orlando, you would get an X. If you're from St. Pete, you would get an I. But all of them can also have a C. Miami, I believe they get M's. Everybody's just got, you know, a different thing. Jacksonville, I think, was a J, whatever. So you can kind of pick up on who's who and where they're from just by looking at their ID tag. I had a C on mine for Central. I didn't get a T for Tampa. But the older guy who was the third guy that I was going to fight, that it didn't end up happening, he was the head of St. Pete. And then the head of Orlando, he was, I think, had turned 24 and was going to get shipped from here. This is one of, like, the biggest kids at Lancaster. Like 6'2", 6'3", and he's big. He looks like a grown man. Like, you would think he's, like, 29 or 30, you know what I mean? Apparently, they didn't like the fact that who I fought didn't win. You know what I mean? I thought the first kid I fought, honestly, I thought he got off on me. From what everybody told me, I got off on both of them. The second kid, the white kid, I smashed him, like I said. But the first one, we went at it. It was a good little fight. And they didn't like that. They feel like those two kids should have did more to me than what they did. And they kind of wanted to continue. They weren't satisfied with it. And there was word that they wanted to take it to the next level. You know what I mean? Whether it's I fight the two older ones, which obviously, you know, they know that they'll win. So that's kind of why they want to do it. That's just a rumor that's starting to spread. And my brothers got involved. You know, the Bloods that were there, and even Tampa got involved. And shout out my boy Richie Montana, man, Carl Fletcher. A lot of people got involved into this situation. You know what I mean? I'm just like, look, we're not going for it. Y'all did what y'all did. He ain't going through nothing else. Meanwhile, I'm asking everybody for a razor. Like, all right, if they want to continue this, I'm just going to start splacking them in the dorm. It is what it is. Give me a lock, a razor, whatever y'all got. And everybody's like, nah, you don't need to do that. It would have popped off a war. We would have all went to war. A lot of people would have got hit up. You know what I mean? It would have turned into something that it didn't need to turn into. But they would have won, you know, bringing about this whole situation. The situation ended up de-escalating. I wasn't going to break it off. You're not going to extort me. None of that's going to happen, period. So the only thing you can do is hit me up and get me, you know, out of the work camp. And, you know, both sides pretty much, we realized it wasn't necessary. We didn't need to do it. If they weren't going to press the issue, we weren't going to attack first. And that's how it laid out. And I would say the main difference between the main unit in Sumter and the main unit in the work camp with Lancaster is that Lancaster, there was really no fighting. That is what really put it on another level for me. When you got to Lancaster, you know, people would tell you, like, fighting, what is that? Never heard of it. We're not going to fight. If we're getting into it, we're slanging iron. You know what I mean? You get a knife, I get a knife. We're going to go in the corner and see who walks away from it. It was just another playing field. So if you were going to beef with somebody and get into it with somebody, you knew blood was going to get shed. So after this point, after everything really de-escalated with that situation and everything died out with that, a bunk opens up. But it doesn't open up in our dorm, which is the 18 to 19 dorm. It opens up in Q dorm, which is like 20 to 21. You know what I mean? So I get moved over to there. Now, in P dorm where I was at, there was only that one guy from Tampa. Nobody else. There wasn't any Bloods. There wasn't anyone that we normally affiliated with. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that we generally didn't get along with. So I get moved into Q dorm. Q dorm's flooded with everybody from Tampa. You know what I'm saying? Tampa's all up and through there. The whole damn dorm's NPR. I think there was like 4 or 5 Bloods in there. You know what I mean? Like, so when I got moved into this dorm, it was more welcome and everyone's excited. Like, yo, my boy just got moved in, da-da-da. We're all hanging out, we're smoking in there. But I got into another situation. There was this kid from Broward County, Florida. This kid was probably like 6'4". He's a big kid, you know what I mean? And he had weight on him. He looked like Gucci from back in the day. Like, that's like the best way to put it, big. And he was a Blood, but I never heard of the set, you know, that he was claiming to be. And from what I heard, people had pressed him and he didn't really know too much. You know what I mean? That isn't what bothered me, the fact that he didn't know too much. What bothered me was the fact that he didn't engage with us. He wasn't trying to be a part of anything that we had going on. So he wasn't really moving with us like a unit, but at the same time, he's, you know, getting the perks that comes with our name. You know what I mean? Like, people were feeling like if they tried to go at him, we're going to have his back. You know what I mean? Just because he has the title of Blood. So push come to shove, I ended up, you know, calling him out on this. I felt like nobody that was at the work camp spoke on it because everybody at the work camp, like I said, it was more vibed out. It wasn't really a need for violence. So a lot of situations were handled more maturely than most, especially if we were on the main. I wasn't there for that long. I still had main unit mentality, something mentality, like it sounds food, we're going to eat it up. So I checked the situation basically, and I called him out, and I called him out in front of people, which I probably shouldn't have done. I probably could have handled it in a better way, maybe just amongst ourselves, you know what I mean? But I called him out in front of people, and I was like, what the hell is that? Where is that even from? You know what I'm saying? What can you tell me to validate what you're saying? And he couldn't. So, I mean, he got pissed off and started just booting up. And you know what I mean? Like, this dude's a lot bigger than me. If we fight, if I win, it's because of a miracle. Just physically, there are people that you can't beat. There's people not in your weight class. Now, I had another brother in the dorm, so I'm asking him for the razor. He's like, nah, bro, I really don't want to give it to you. I don't want to see, you know, both of y'all go at it like this. He's really trying to mediate the situation. But the other guy's pride, because of how I called him out, that's what's so dangerous. Pride is dangerous, whether it's your pride or another person's pride. That's a very dangerous factor in a lot of things. And if you present situations in a respectful way, things don't carry out into warfare. You know what I mean? I wasn't thinking like that at that point, but I learned from this. You know what I mean? I called him out in front of everybody, and his pride, he had to fight. You know, everybody saw a little white boy just said all this to you. I'm not little, but compared to him, I am. and they're expecting him to fight. And on top of that, he's black. And it's even more dangerous if you win, because pride comes into play. You lost to a white boy. Well, now you got to stab him. Now you got to do something to really, put on. So we're basically about to go at it. We're waiting until count time's done with. We're going to wait until the CO gets out and smokes a cigarette or whatever, and we're going to go at it. And this kid's, he's still talking. He's putting his shoes on and everything. I don't have nothing on me, so I'm just going to fight. It is what it is. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to bump anyway. And what ended up happening was all of the Bloods in the dorm, before a fight started, when the CO walked outside, we all got together. We all got into a group. I didn't do as much talking. We kind of had mediators that were talking. People that I respected and he respected, so we both listened. And, after I confronted him on what I said, some of the Bloods agreed with me. And they asked him, they were like, do you want to be a part of this here? Are you trying to be a part of this? Because the knowledge that you're missing can be learned. But if you don't have the will to go through what we go through, if you're only going to claim this when it's convenient to you, that ain't going to work. You know what I mean? You can't, it's not going to fly like that. He basically said, he doesn't want knowledge from anybody in here. His big homie on the street, he's going to link back up with him when he gets out. And he said he's just going to fall back. He ain't going to rap Blood no more. He's not going to affiliate with us anymore. And one of the reasons I popped all this off was because he was getting into things. He was a gambler. I don't gamble. He was a gambler. And he was a known cheater. If we represent the same thing, you're a representation of me and vice versa. And I'm going to go by the code. And if you're not going by the code the same way, you're not representing me the same way I'm representing you. That's a problem. We can't have that. You know what I mean? So he was getting into a lot of things that he should deal with by himself, because no one else is. You're putting other people into situations and into jeopardy and into positions where we might have to go to war about someone that you're not even rocking with us like that. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to say he folded his flag. He said that when he got out, he was going to meet up with his big homie. We were fine with that. He wasn't banging at the work camp anymore. And that made a lot of people look at me in a different way. White boy came over here, fought, whatever. You don't really get stripes off of fighting, but you do get a little ounce of respect. And then not only that, I'm checking my own people, making sure my own people are in line and we're all moving righteously. We're all moving the same way. You know what I mean? Everybody else was on point. Everybody else. Shout out my brother Harvey. I miss you, bro. Everybody else was on point. Everybody else was doing what we were supposed to do. But, we got that situation out of the way. And fortunately, we didn't have to take it into another level. I didn't have to hit him up. I didn't have to fight. You know what I mean? We were able to handle it maturely. But from that moment, I learned if I had something to say to somebody, pride can be one of the main factors in how a situation will play out. And I could have caused things that I didn't need to. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful that I was able to pick up on that. It was one of my brothers that actually pointed that out to me. And he said to me, you could have went about it this way and got a different reaction. Even though we got what we wanted in the end, it was still something to think about and to learn from. You know what I mean? But hey, I think I'm gonna end it here for the first video. Let y'all know about my first little TOH at a work camp, which ain't nothing. It's sweet, but we're just gonna keep diving into it. Stories are gonna keep going. Give you a little hint on what's more to come. I finally end up getting moved into the 18 dorm. Got into it with someone else, and this time it did get out of hand. You know what I mean? But hey, let me know how y'all rocking with the video. Like, subscribe, all that.